Hello, everyone. Again, it's another Friday. Annie, I wait for this Friday. It's the only thing that keeps us going this. So, it's another Friday, and today we are discussing a Kenyan film called Kidnapped. Yeah, Kidnapped, it's not about just abducting somebody on the street. It's about kidnapping a husband. When you plan as a woman, you plan well. And when a man does not plan his life with you, you plan for him the way to earn. And that's what this movie about. I'm so excited to watch this movie, not because it ends up killing the man, but I mean, people should learn to keep their words, for God's sake. So, I'm going to be having a very lovely guest today. I'm having Lydia Gitachu, the main actress in that film. But Lydia is not just a main actress in Kidnap. Lydia is an award-winning actress. She calls herself a creative entrepreneur. Lydia has acted in, I think, if there's any actress who has acted in the most of TV soaps in Kenya, Lydia is one of them. And so we are so glad to have her here for her experience and her roles in different capacities, in different movies, and in different TVs. She'll share her experience. And then we are also going to have NJERI MIGWI. NJERI MIGWI is having a shelter for women. Yeah, she said, I mean, she can't have for both men and women. We need a man to stand up to have a shelter for men. But she's having a shelter for abused women. And this is one of the places where we have got, when you look at the Kenyan map and the Kenyan NGOs, we do not have enough shelters. That is if we have any apart from Jerry's. We have got a lot of toll lines, call when you have distress. But as a person who's been through domestic abuse, I can tell you the last thing somebody needs is a call line, because after calling, then what? People need a shelter to go to. And for that, we're having Jerry here to tell us about her experience, what motivates her, because every person needs a place where they can go, even for 2 weeks, as they try to restructure their life before they decide, is it better to go on with my life as a single person, or is it better to be in that marriage and hoping things will change? And she has a shelter specifically for that. We are really grateful that she's going to be joining us. We also have Antonia Wanjiku. Antonia Wanjiku is a young girl, an activist. I first met her when she was working at Crew, and right now she's working with the Fight Inequality in Kenya. I told her I'm definitely going to join that organization. I have to be a member because I mean I like people fighting equality, and I'm an Asumbi girl, and integrity is our motto. So with this, I think we as CBWN, I think that's definitely our partners, because when we think about fighting inequality, it's part of some of our values. So Antonia Wanjiku is going to also join as being an activist, and also being somebody who champions for change, who champions for equality in the country and among the youth and everyone. She's also going to share with us her experiences, what she has done in the past and right now in her new organization, and how can we work together. And of course, we are going to have Ambassador Njoki Muhoho to discuss, can this film really change people's perspective? I don't know whether it can change my perspective, but I loved the ending. I don't like the fact that the man died, but I like the fact that the woman decided it's over. And then we are going to have Nana Wanjao, who I'm going to bring on right now to welcome us to this session. Nana is the chairperson, a Commonwealth Business Women Kenya. And Nana, I'm wearing heels for the meeting, even though people can't see it. So
it is called improvement. Yeah?
I'm wearing heels. Yeah, I have to feel good and total when we are discussing such a film.
And I am wearing perfume.
Oh,
just to feel good. These are lessons I picked up after we did a session on branding.
Yes.
Yes. So it doesn't matter if I'm moving in my house. I must feel good. I must smell good.
It is very important, Yes.
Thank you so much, Dr. Zippy.
Karibu.
Gender-based violence. I don't know if there is any woman, even man, who somehow has not been touched in their lives by gender-based violence. Let me start by saying Commonwealth Business Women Network, one of our pillars is ending violence against women and girls. So we advocate and work with partners for ending violence against women and girls. But at a personal level, Zippy, they say out of 3 women, one of the 3 women will have experienced gender-based violence by the time they are 15.
Yeah.
I have experienced my own gender-based violence. I think I was 14 years old. That's a story even for another day. But that experience took me to another level where now I build homes for ostracized widows through an entity called Power Woman International. And it's because ostracized widows who've lost their husbands, but have also been ostracized by society, through cultural practices. So we build homes for that. And those women experience violence at another level, through the community, through the families that they called family, they called in-laws, and they ostracize them in very inhuman ways. I was reading a report from National Crime Research Center. It says gender-based violence is one of the most prevalent human rights violations. It knows no social, economic, class, or cultural confinement. It doesn't matter whether you are wealthy, whether you are poor, it is there. It occurs in families, in schools, in workplaces, social structures, and communities across the world. Women and girls, and to a lesser degree, men and boys, either directly experience or face the impact of some form of gender-based violence. Gender-based violence involves a wide variety of agents, from intimate partners, family members, people with different abilities, the elderly, to strangers and institutional actors such as teachers, pastors, office managers, police, presidents, and politicians. We've seen that. The study found out that the most commonest forms of gender-based violence mentioned by men and women included inflicting bodily harm, physical assault, verbal abuse, and rape. The most fundamental cause of gender-based violence in the traditional belief is the traditional belief about men's dominance over women. So there's a lot on that report, obviously, but I like the fact that at the end of that report, the findings of the study led to the following broad recommendations, which require urgent action by the government. The first one is that declare gender-based violence a national disaster, taking into account the estimated cost of about 46 billion Kenyan shillings to the economy, and integrate its management into planning through specific budgetary provisions by both county and national governments. Therefore, the second one is strengthen policy guidelines to service delivery from the grassroots at the county level to the national level through measures such as awareness creation and capacity building. Number 3, strengthen the legal framework by enacting laws where necessary to deal with perpetrators in order to stem human rights violations and facilitate the implementation of the Constitution. And lastly, but not least, create awareness and include gender-based violence management in trainings for health staff, social workers, the judiciary, security agencies, and policy makers in general. This is so key. Training social workers, judiciary. You said something, when somebody has experienced gender-based violence, what is the call? You need something tangible that can help you through the next 48 hours. And unfortunately, now it has improved, but not across the country. If you went to report a sexual or rape case to police, you would find a man on the front desk and you'd report your case. And the first thing they would ask you is, ulimfanya nini? What did you do to this person for them to rape you or physically abuse you? The story turns to be, it is your fault. You must have caused this to happen. So we do find that a lot of women and girls that experience gender-based violence shy away from reporting. It is said in this report, it said that about 40% of about 40% of women and girls that have been raped. I'm sure there's more because a lot goes unreported. So this movie, let me even touch a little bit that during the COVID-19 pandemic where we are in right now, we have seen an increase in the cases of gender-based violence. However, we don't have the numbers yet. But mental illness, frustration of losing jobs, children out of school, cramped in small spaces, causes mental anguish. So there's a rise in gender-based violence that we are seeing during this period. I started by saying that in a personal capacity, I built homes for ostracized widows. One of the saddest encounters I had about 2 years ago was of a widow we were building a home for in Siaya. When I went there to commission the home, I met the widow with her daughter and 2 young boys. And I was introduced to the daughter, and the daughter was expectant. So further inquiry, apparently when the widow was being attacked by what they call thugs, but she says they were her family from the other side, they raped her and they raped her daughter. That's how bad this can get. Dr. Zippy, I would like to hand this over to you and listen to gender-based violence. I know the movie ended well, but let's hear some real life situations that people will connect with. And let's make this conversation about creating awareness, about advocacy, about learning. I'm very passionate about speaking to both boys and girls about what is right and what is not wrong. Somebody should not touch you inappropriately. And in our family settings, African family settings, you find that we have extended families, uncles, aunties, nephews, nieces, they come to stay with you. Usually, those are the ones that will violate your children. So it's important to teach children at an early age what is the norm and what is not the norm, including boys, what you should do, what you should not do, who should not touch you where. We need to have those conversations as parents so that, children, as they go through these things, they are able to speak, but they are also to say no. They are able to scream. They are able to tell the story when it happens. Because when you are that age, by the way, at any age, you are made to feel that it was your fault that this occurred to you. So I would like this to be really an awareness of what is happening and a learning curve for all of us, whether you've been through it or not, whether you have children or not, whether you're in the relationships or not. I'm sure there's a lot to learn. Back to you, Dr. Zippy.
Thank you, Nana. You see, when I watched this film, and then you see the lady killing the man 4 shots. At first, I was like, "Oh God, that's not a good ending." But then I look at it. When we watch news nowadays, it's like, "Oh, a man killed the children and the wives. Oh, a woman killed all the children." And you're like, this is the reality on the ground.
Yeah.
People are killing each other in homes. And so why are people staying that long? And
Mm.
what I know from my experience and a lot of other women's experience is that the most difficult thing is stepping out,
Mm.
just stepping out because of the social stigma. What will people say? That is everybody's question. What will
Mm.
people say? My children, or maybe life will change. This good school they are going to, the status will change. All these things make people stay until they can't take it no more. Like you talked about mental health. Right now, it's an issue. Somebody without knowing is being pushed to do things that they never thought they could do, and because of anger, frustrations, the loss of job,
Unfortunately,
the pay cuts. Yeah,
culturally, as Africans, we take counseling as, as weakness, as
yeah.
disease, like diseased
Mm-hmm.
people with mental health are the ones who go for counseling. But
Yeah.
maybe something that we should be advocating for is counseling, not when you are in problems, because you shouldn't go for counseling when you're in problems. You should go for counseling just to release.
Yes.
Life is very stressful. So it helps when you've got a profession that you talk to on a monthly basis. If we encourage these counseling sessions to start in primary schools, these
Yeah.
children
Mm-hmm.
will grow up with a culture of having a counselor, having somebody to talk to, just as a
Yeah.
way of life, of living, of releasing, your stress to a professional who will hold your secrets but also advise you professionally what you should do. I think we need that because you said something. Why do people stay in such relationships for so long until you reach a breaking point? Because we have
Yeah.
nowhere to release this stress. I think we should
Mm-hmm.
advocate for counseling as a way of life. The way we say exercise, eat healthy, sleep 8 hours, have a professional counselor you go and see for a
Every
month.
month. Yes.
Yeah. In fact, we are better off as women. At least we've got girl groups. Men are worse off
Yeah.
because they don't talk the way we talk. But we need to
Mm-hmm.
demystify this counseling and just make it as a part of life, of the way we are, part of our health, mental health. Talk to somebody.
Yeah, I think that's a very important caption to take, especially in schools right now. It should just be something like a student should be told in your report form, did you meet the counseling teacher at least once or twice the time? I mean, it will really help curb a lot of these things. Yeah.
Mm,
Anyway, just
completely.
with that, I want to today I'm testing this up
Well, we have so many.
beyond. So I want to test Jackie if this thing will share screen and play something. I hope it will not disappoint me. So
Okay. I'm sure it will play.
yeah, sure it will play.
It will play.
Yeah. So I want to try playing the trailer of this thing,
Yes.
and I hope that you guys will be able to see it on Facebook because I'm not able to check on Facebook right now.
Okay.
But I want to believe it's playing.
Yes, it's actually playing.
Yes.
Is there volume?
Oh, yes, there's volume on my side. Hold. Okay, I will start it again. Yes, my people. Nana, let me just say we made it. So, so let me just stop something here. Good. Yeah, so there's no background noise. Good. So, hi, Nana. I think this is a major achievement, but so let me
You
just
made it.
stop something here. Yes, we made it. Yeah, so there's no background noise. Good. So, hi, Nana.
Yes.
I think this is a major achievement.
Yes,
but
it is. Yes, it is. You made it. Well done.
let me
You
just
made it.
stop something here. I'm hearing how do I call it? An echo. I'm wondering where it is from. I'm trying to kill it.
I've put on silent.
Okay.
I think we're good now.
Oh, okay. Sawa sawa. All right, then, Nana, I'll let you go. Then now I'd like to invite Serah Mwihaki, the producer of the film, to come and, okay, Serah is a bit disconnected. So let me invite Lydia Gitachu to start to be our first guest so that she can tell us what was her experience. Hi, Lydia.
Hi.
Weka video, sioni uso yako.
What do you mean?
I mean, I cannot see your face.
Hi.
Venye ninajua umeweka lip gloss. Hebu weka video.
Where is it? Unajua hizi vitu zinatuchallenge vibaya sana.
What you'll do since kama inakusumbua, leave studio, log in again and join audio and ensure you join audio and video.
Why is it telling? Okay, so let me leave studio then come back.
Come back, yeah. When you join again, join with audio and video. We want to see your face. Okay, meanwhile, Serah is here. Serah, Sasa. Hi, Serah. Hello. Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Yeah, good. Thank God. Thank God.
I can.
You can hear me?
It. Oh, yes, I can hear you.
Oh, great. Now, I just want you to tell us, as the writer, first as the writer, why did you end this movie like that?
There's like a deep.
As the writer, I don't even want to talk about the beginning. Why did you end the movie like that?
Oh, you're breaking up.
Oh, you can't hear me. I'm saying, as the writer,
okay,
why did you choose such an ending?
Why?
Did you choose such an ending? I think your network is very low. Itabidi upande mti.
So I had. Sorry, say that again.
I'm saying, as a writer, why did you choose such an ending?
Ah, right. Okay. So, why did I choose
the ending? Yes, the ending.
The ending.
Yes.
Well, I kind of felt like he shouldn't have gotten away with it. And we don't even know what actually happened. But we were arguing about, or rather having discussions about, till, almost to the last edit. So yeah, that kind of ending was maybe because mainly I wanted something where he doesn't get away with it, and also
Umepotea? Hey, Serah, let me give you time to look for a tree to climb so that we get internet. I was saying, let me give you time to look for a tree to climb and then get the internet.
You do
Yeah, your internet is letting us down. So yeah, as Sarah looks for internet, let me see if we can now see. I don't know what happened. Lydia.
Can you see me at all? Yes.
Yeah, I'm seeing black.
What is happening? I don't know what's going on.
I can see like,
this technology stuff. Ay. Everyone can
but I
see
can
and hear me.
you. I can hear you very clearly.
What they're telling me is that everyone can hear and see me. Why can't I
really?
be seen? Yeah.
Really? Let me see.
They can all. Says I'm in the show.
They can all hear you, but they can't see your face.
No, everyone can see and hear you. You're in the show.
Yeah, me, they can see me, but I need to see you also.
Oh, jeez.
Okay, as these actors juggle with these gadgets, let me bring in NJERI as I wait for Serah MIGWI. Serah MIGWI will join us at 5:45. Njoki.
Yeah. Oh.
As our friends juggle with technology, I have just remembered our very first days trying to be live, everything.
That's so true. That's so true. Yeah.
Yes.
It looks like today the extraterrestrial powers kidnapped the Wi-Fi connection. It's so crucial we hear from Serah and from Lydia.
Yeah, exactly. No, I don't know. But anyway, with Lydia, even if we cut her voice is quite very clear. Yeah, so very clear. With Serah, I don't know, we can barely hear her. Yeah. Yes, Njoki, you said you loved the ending.
It's interesting because I watched this film when it was very new, so I've been trying to get it to watch it again for this, and I was thinking, here I am telling Zippy, let's watch Kidnapped, you know, and I'm like, let's get Lydia, let's get Serah, and then I'm like, okay, I need to find it to watch it again.
Yeah.
As usual, I'll take a more global, more generic global approach to this. One of the questions I've always, oh, by the way, let me humor you. Although I haven't talked to Serah for a long time, I haven't seen her for several months. Do you know I'm her grandmother?
Who, Serah's grandmother?
Yes. Serah is my relative, serious.
I'm also your relative.
So I hope she's hearing this and laughing. Yeah. When she comes back, you can ask her what's her relationship with me. We do call each other cousins, but actually I should be her grandma. So one thing is that, relative or no relative, Serah is an amazing writer. She's the first big TV production that I did. I produced it. I was executive producer, Changes. Actually, that was her story concept. So I believe in her writing a lot in terms of writing real stuff. Real stuff means she wouldn't try and ape. You know, she'll write things that you can relate to in our day-to-day lives. That's one thing. So well done, Serah, for a very well-written script. Now, Lydia, oh my, I love Lydia as an actress. She's even been on quite a number of our productions, both for MultiChoice, for Mnet, for Zebra Productions. And she was even in the last film for MultiChoice Talent Factory that won Best MTF Film in Africa. and she had the leading role there. So we're looking at, and I'm celebrating them being also an African month for the what do you call it? African month, and also celebrating the African women in the arts. So I have a lot of respect for Serah and Lydia and all the others who got involved in the film, for sure. So for me, it's a few questions, Zippy.
Yeah.
I'm yet to understand, and maybe a psychologist should walk me through, because from my upbringing, this doesn't really make sense to me, but there must be a reason out there. Why would people stick to an abuse relationship, knowing very well, one, they are unhappy, two, they deserve their happiness, three, the longer they stay, the more difficult it's going to be to extract themselves. So the question I keep asking is, what should women do to be able to have the courage to extract themselves out of it? And most important to know, I'm at that break point now. If I continue on staying in this relationship, it's going to be harder emotionally, physically, and everything to get out. What are the signals that women would get to know it's now? It's now. If I don't go, I will never be able to go. Yeah. So I have a question. When is the go point? When is I am leaving point? That is a safe point that leaves you still respecting each other, because there must have been a reason why you two came together. There must have been those lovey days. They were good old days, but that's what they are, good old. The key word here is old. So
Yeah. Yeah.
what is
I
the
think
block? What is this
when
from being futuristic that you live backwards? You know, it's like a clock ball going backwards. Oh, we married for the good and the bad. Oh, we had some
they
great
are paying for
time.
their children.
I haven't gone there yet. You're staying
But
on because you had some good times. But now you're
yeah.
having hell of a time. Okay, let me not use hell, because the young people who use hell mean real good. So you are having a disaster of a time now that
Yeah.
you're moving on because you once had good times. Okay,
Yes.
so that's a question I would like a psychologist maybe to explain to me. Powerlessness. You start
Uh-huh.
feeling powerless. You start feeling I can't go, I can't leave, and all that. The more powerless you feel, the more powerless you get. Like one of the writers, a book that I like reading by a lady, who said, if you feel powerless, you are powerless to begin with. Maybe you got into the relationship from a powerless point of view that you
Yeah.
need a pillar to hang on to. So even when that pillar picks you up, you still hang on. Another
Yeah.
one, and that's the one you're leading to. I'm doing this for my children. I have a very close personal friend who's done that for my children for nearly 30 years. She stayed on for her children and got to a point where she wanted to take her life. So I asked, for me, if you come to me crying, I'll say, Zippy, kapo, umelia, have you cried enough? Okay, here is a box of Kleenex. Cry some more. Okay, now let's start doing logical solutions. That's me.
Yeah.
I'm the friend who will tell you the things that you really hurt, and I'll tell you, if you call me just to cry, you're wasting my time. You cry, I'll be reading my book, and I want you to cry and cry it all out. When you've done crying, let's start coming up with some strategies. That's the kind of person I am. So most people won't come to me unless they are ready to love some strategies, which is fine. So when you tell me for my children, and you get pushed to a corner where you want to take your life or you commit murder. So would your children prefer to be visiting their mom in community prison for the rest of their life? Would they prefer to be visiting you at your grave on your every birthday, knowing that mommy did this for us? No, I think they would like a mother who is leaving, that they can do some shopping and go and visit. That's my thinking. Okay, then another point, and I'll let you come in. Zippy, you and I. How many women do we know who in this day and era, they'll still be talking to you, my hubby, my sweetheart, he's taking me out for a date. And you and I know the person gets booked, left, right, center. On social media, beautiful pictures of this lovey-dovey couple.
Yeah.
Why do they find it necessary? And by the way, let me not just say women, even men, they'll keep talking about, I really admire my wife, she's done this and this, and he writes hopes and beats her up,
Yeah.
So my question is, what is this that makes people feel that we have to give a front? We know things huko nyumbani ni baya kabisa. Things are bad at home, but you want to give a front of things are perfect. So what is that void? Because there must be a big hole in you, a big void that you're trying to fill. So, last one for now. If I am having problems at home with my man, and you try to interject to come in and help, why is it often we women, that woman who tried to make peace, or that woman who came and told you your wife is, or your husband is having an affair, and we have evidence of that, and yet we are two very close friends? So how come when you try to help a friend or tell them what everybody else knows but they don't know, you become the enemy? Why does the other woman become the enemy?
Truth hurts, Njoki. Truth hurts.
I know, but that is misplaced aggression. Take your aggression to the culprit, but not to me, the deliverer of the news. And maybe that's why, personally, for me, I would know stuff, but I would not tell you. One, because I have an inkling that you already know, but you're putting your head in the sand. So I'll just supply you with more sand. You tell me how great your man is, I say, oh, you're so lucky, but I can still see the bruises on your face. Anyway, if that's what you want me to do, I'll caress your ego and I'll let you live a fantasy, because I'm a good friend and I know where you're coming from. You want a fantasy. But if I tell you the truth, I become the enemy. Okay, but there'll be that time I'll tell you, it's okay. Don't talk to me for the rest of your life. But there are some facts I need to tell you. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you might not talk to me for 2 months, 3 months, but after that you realize I was a real friend, But then I want to talk to you about it unless I have real, tangible, long-term evidence, Otherwise, it's none of my business, yeah? So there you are. Women, I don't think it's just women. These days, there are as many battered men as there are battered women.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. The other day,
was,
I don't know whether you saw it in Njoki on Facebook, this man who everybody knows is like, those man of it is late.
Yes.
And then the wife killed him. And you're like, okay, on the street, then people at these photos are like, on the streets, it is late. At home, it is late in a different way,
Yes.
And then you look at it and like men are trying to hold up too, but it is sickening.
It is sickening, yeah. And in this time of COVID, we've seen there is a big rise of gender violence. So what do we do? How do we empower people? How do we? And I think the more people are enclosed. I mean, even those who are single and they have a cat, they've picked that cat more times in the COVID times than normal. So tensions are high, yeah. So that's it. Those are my first comments. And as we talk, probably I will try and find out what's happening to Zippy, to Lydia and Serah. I'll try and get them on for you. So you may have to remove me from the screen so I sort that for you.
Okay, thank you, Njoki. Some of your questions I will answer as the discussion goes on. Some I will want Lydia to start answering. I can see Lydia is already having special effects on her video, but it's okay.
Let me tell you, give me an acting job, but don't tell me to do this. Techno savvy stuff.
Oh, maybe I'll go green.
I'm trying my best to be seen.
Don't worry. I think I like the animated you in green screen. It's okay. Yeah.
Always in character. Always in character.
You made me Mokimo.
Oh my God. That's what I like doing in my life. I like bringing joy to people's lives. See how you're laughing?
Okay, Njoki, I will remove you so that I can have Lydia. Lydia.
Yes,
Karibu sana. It's good to hear your voice and to see your animated features. And now, I will use some of Njoki's questions later. But first, how did it feel acting such a role? Just in case I don't know, how did you bring in your character into it? You know, they say as an actor, you have to bring in some feelings. You have to look and reflect and see, is there a person in your life who had gone through who you are able to relate to and put their feelings into the character that you're doing? What did you do? How did you do it? Because you did it really well, I must say.
Thank you so much for that. The first time that Serah told me that she's cast me in this show, this movie, then she told me it's about domestic violence. Then when I read the script, it was like, did she know about me in a previous relationship I was in? Is she talking about me? Because that was me in a previous relationship. And I was like, I was able to tap into that. And when actors tap into that so deeply, that's the result you see. You're like, oh, you brought it out so well. It's because it's something I've gone through myself in a previous relationship. It was, yeah. Lydia borrowed,
great.
the character borrowed a lot from Lydia's experience in life.
Yeah, I think in acting, we say emotional recall. You brought it, let me tell you, it's not like I like guys being shot dead, but the way you shot that guy, it felt good. Yeah.
When we went for the premiere at Prestige, one of my very close friends was like, I was waiting for you to just do that because I was tired. I had had enough myself. Thank you. She clapped. You know, people don't clap when somebody gets shot to death, but she was like, thank you. Yeah.
You know, like I'm seeing Kanuna is saying, I don't know why the shooting didn't even feel like enough punishment for that dude. Because honestly, right now we have got quite a number of men who are scared of doing the formal marriage. People have been in a relationship for 10 years. Everybody actually thinks if people are married, they're just wondering why you're not having kids. But the guy has never gone to your home. Then suddenly the guy says, I think we better look elsewhere. For God's sake, I can also do the same. I think even worse. Because as in...
Exactly.
Somebody should be very clear from the very beginning and say, this is not going to work, but let us enjoy each other's company. You get it? Because you see, be clear. And not just for men, even for women, even men, I think when they get into a relationship, somebody needs to know, like, is this lady in it for the final haul, or or I am the sidekick guy? You know, it needs to be very clear. Yeah. But right nowadays, I think even parents at home, they're tired of waiting. They hear, okay, you're here, you're living with a guy, or it's now 10 years, it's even 20 years. People, a man goes to a woman's home when their own child is almost getting married. Then they realize, they had not paid for the mother dowry, so let's pay for the mother dowry before we take the daughter's dowry. And you know...
Exactly. Because that's tradition. You want to maintain tradition, but you want to be current. You want to be the current kind of people, or you want to have relationships. It's lack of defining what this relationship is going to be, as you're saying. Spot on.
Damaris is saying women stick in abusive relationship because most are disempowered in the relationship. The man makes sure they cut you from friends and family, so one is alienated and they have no one to go back to. This is from my research. Damaris, that one is total truth.
Zippy.
Yes.
In my abusive relationship that I was in.
Yes.
And here's the thing. Here's the kicker. He was white. He was a white man. Abusing me in my own country, in my own house. Yes, he was helping to parent, but he was abusing me in my own house. And then he alienated. My friends came and told me, hey, we've tried to tell you, okay? We've tried to tell you over and over. It's up to you now. When he kills you, we'll come and bury you. But that's not what we want. But we are alienating ourselves from you. Yeah, they alienate you from your family. They tell you how your family members are bad. They don't want you to go visit your folks. They don't want you to go visit your guardians. Nobody. They want to keep you to themselves.
So even your friends are bad,
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh God, I think I was in such a relationship. I think mine is public knowledge.
Oh, it is? I didn't know. Now I'll look for your story now. I didn't know that.
Yeah, people ask me why, there's that thing of like, why did you have to say it all publicly? For me, it was a matter of therapy. And anyway, I went public 5 years after divorce. So when people talk about it, I'm like, God, I left 5 years before I told the story. It's not like I left today and told the story tomorrow. So it was quite like, oh, a relief.
Right.
But then it's the one thing that is very, very hard for most women to leave, like you're saying in your story. Friends told you to leave, but you're like, oh, he's right, he's nice, he's taking care of you. Because they always have a way of making you feel so vulnerable. Like when you go back, he can hit, you can do anything to you, but the following day you'll be taken for dinner. He will make up for it. Yes.
Oh, he'll buy flowers.
He'll buy you
flowers. He will buy you a bottle of wine. Oh, I'm so sorry. He'll cry. He'll cry. I'm so sorry. I don't know what I was thinking. I'm so sorry. And they're begging. And I don't know what it is. At that time, it's like your self-esteem is so down there that anything that sounds nice to you, you just take it with the whole of your life. And yet, you find yourself, in 2 days, you're back to the same place. In 5 days.
Then when I was watching this film, I remember, what's the name of your husband in the film?
This is a long time ago. What was the name of the husband?
Karuha. It's called Joseph Karuha. John.
Kararahe. I just know his real name.
Yeah, yes. So like you see, there's one thing that was very particular about John's words. He had those words that to him were like a joke, but they were piercing so deeply. Like on your side, he told you very clearly, oh, I mean, how do you think you'll shed those extra kilos that you've put? But then looking at you, you're already skinny enough.
So he's got all the kilos. He's got all the kilos.
No, but I'm looking at
chewing at your self-esteem. Chewing. Yeah.
And then then you realize when he was also with Adeline, the girlfriend, his mouth was also still speaking the same way, so it was in his character as a person. And sometimes I tell people, sometimes it's not even about your relationship, it is about this person's character. They do not see any wrong with their choice of words. It's okay for them to say anything, and they believe the other partner, not even necessarily a woman, but the other partner should be able to just take it like, oh, I was just joking. And they do not notice. The sad thing is, when the other partner is able to change their mood, if you're a caring partner, you should be able to ask, what's wrong? And say, I'm sorry. But you see, this kind of person, he doesn't see anything wrong with that. I remember even when they are with Adeline in the room, there's this time like Adeline wants to talk to him and like, can't you just put your phone down for a second and listen to me? And he's busy talking about, the economy. And I'm like,
did you just leave that conversation and move on to the next thing? Did life just move on for you and you left me here? So I guess in the character, in the character that I played, she had taken on so much that by the time she was deciding, this is it, that's the end of you, it was enough. It was enough.
Yeah, because I think there was the hotel scene where you guys went to eat nyama choma.
Oh my gosh!
Tell me about that scene. Tell me about that scene.
You don't want me to start crying. I don't want to start crying, okay?
And the thing about that scene is even people who have not gone about domestic violence, let me not talk even abuse, about domestic violence itself, a lot of women have gone through that, where you psychologically know, today he said he's going to take me somewhere. You dress up, then he takes you.
And this is the day. And this is the day. Life is going to change for us. Today is when we'll start our lives. And then he drops you like hot coal. And I don't know how to describe that feeling. I could only act it by using words that were written by Serah, using words that were written by Serah as a writer, but feeling it as Lydia. And the two of them had that performance. It was Lydia meets my character, and that's exactly how I used to feel when my ex would do such things. You know, they tell you, when they're apologizing, and when you think it's an important day for you, and they have really, you're waiting for it because they know when they apologize or when they do something good, they really do it. So you're looking forward to it.
Yeah.
And then your heart drops below. I don't know. How did you feel watching it?
I think that has happened to a lot of women. I included a lot of times. Personally, I am known for overdressing for anything. So I'll even overdress for the supermarket. But then when somebody tells me specifically that, I'll take you out today, whether the person says for a drink, for God's sake, sometimes when somebody tells you they'll take you out, you expect that it's going to be like me and you. Somebody needs to tell you in advance, like, let's go out, we join our friends. You're like, we are going to be in a Kirende. But then sometimes you just know it's just the two of us, romantic evening. Then you're like, what is that?
I brought you out to tell you it's over. I'm moving. My life has moved on. You dropped something like that, and your life has moved on, and you leave me. How do you leave? You leave somebody. How do you leave?
I want to ask you one question. By the way, you can easily cry on the other side. People will not see your face. People will not see you cry. So don't worry if you decide to cry. But I'd like you to tell us, what was your turning point when you decided you are ending your abusive relationship, the real one?
Yeah. So he was not living in Kenya. He used to come and, we were planning all this marriage stuff. You're talking about my real life experience,
right?
Yes,
your real life. Like, what was your turning point? What made you decide it's enough?
When one day he had been threatening to throw me over the balcony from the 5th floor. We used to live on the 5th floor. And finally, he decided this is the day I'm going to do it. And he pulled me. I had braided my hair. I like braiding my hair. So he pulled me by my braids and he hung me on the, the railings of the balcony. And I told him, because he knew my grandmother and he loved my grandmother. My grandmother brought me up. And he told me, I told him, as you do this, please, can you make sure that you don't run away? Go and tell my grandmother that you did this to me. Don't leave her. Don't let her live, not knowing what happened, because you can easily go back to the US. Please don't let her live without knowing what happened to me. Don't run away. And I looked into his eyes, and it's like he was possessed by whatever it is. And then he pulled me back. And I was like, the next time he goes back to his country, that's it. I cannot do this. He's going to kill me. And my friends were right now like, this is it. He's going to kill me. He will kill me. And I waited for him to go back to the States. I stayed very careful after that, because he didn't have long after that to stay in Kenya. He had to go back. And I stayed very careful not to fight with him, not to. Sometimes, let me tell you, and I'm not trying to say that domestic violence is good, but sometimes if you see a situation is going to get volatile, walk away from it. Walk away from it. Nobody's holding you there. Don't stay there thinking that it benefits you're getting. What benefits are you getting when sometimes half my hair would be out, and I have really beautiful hair, really beautiful God-given hair. But he really messed up he was careful not to touch my face, but he used to always go for the hair. He'd pull it out. So I'd have to braid my hair so that it can equalize. One side would be short, the other one would be long. So the kind of emotional torture but I realized something, and somebody told me this, gave me this advice. When you see a situation is getting out of hand, you cannot compete with the physical strength of this man. He was quite strong. So calm down, walk away, get away from him, walk out. He follows you, go to your friend's house. Don't stay in that situation. And then think about what you're doing. If this has happened once, it's going to happen over and over. And by the time I realized he's going to kill me, was a balcony scene, and that was the end. That was it.
Actually, that happens a lot to a lot of women. I just also want you to maybe help us relate with the issue of Mpango Wakando. In
Okay.
I think it has become very, very normal in a Kenyan setting. It is said, oh, it is normal. A man must be, it's polygamous by nature. Mpango wa kando is normal. A man is only yours when you are with him. I don't know whether a woman is also only yours when you're with her, but as in that kind of thought. So when
Yeah.
it is in the script, you had
Yes.
you had followed this woman like many Kenyan women follow, I included. When you know that this is the one, you will follow Facebook and you will get those tweets and stuff.
Yes,
I
you want to
mean,
find out.
you don't
Yes.
know, you don't want to be the last to know anyway. So
No, you don't.
so when it was in this scene where this
Yes.
woman was looking at all these photos, the man had said it's going to work, and here it is, oh, with my bae, you know,
Yeah.
and all
Yeah.
these photos the woman keeps posting, and you're like, as a woman, when
Yeah.
faithfulness is what you expect, even though this man says he has not married you and he has already told you that you people should look elsewhere, what
Yes.
exactly, what is your general thought? I don't know whether you've been in such a situation, but what is your general thought about domestic abuse coming on as a result of cheating?
As a result, okay. I hate to borrow from real life experiences, but that's what I do usually. When I'm not satisfying you, be open from the beginning. If you're looking elsewhere, there's something I'm not giving you. But why are you keeping me there? And you have somebody else who's fulfilling your needs. Why am I there? I'm not gonna go. I'm gonna blame the man who I have chosen for not speaking out. The girl, he found her, and I'm not gonna go and attack a woman. I will find out. You got somebody else, all right? So what is it
Yeah,
that I'm not giving you at home? What is it that I'm not
exactly.
giving you at home? Then why am I here? If they're more important to you, why am I here? If you want to be,
Yes,
and this is something I find very disgusting sometimes. If you want to be that African man, then go kwenyu nyumbani, go to your parents and say, I have another wife. So we are
yeah,
allowed to, they're allowed to do that. Men are allowed to do that, right? But do not keep me in the dark. You come and beat me up because, oh, I'm not dressing the way that girl wants it, the way your Mpango Wakando is dressing for you. Yet, don't keep me here. Tell me,
exactly.
I think it's done. Define the relationship. It has changed for you. Let me know. Don't keep me there. Totally me, psychologically, physically, domestic. For what? Just be honest. That would be my take on that.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
Yeah.
so anyway, thank you, Lydia. Time inaenda haraka. Gosh, anything you want to say before I remove you?
No. I'd just like to say thank you so much. I can see they're my fans over here. Thank you so much for watching me and keep watching. I'll never stop acting. There's no retiring in acting. Thank you so much, darling, for having me.
It is very true. There's no retiring in acting. Yesterday during Njoki's
No.
session, someone said the producers should give chance to new actors. I was like, I mean, kwani the old actors wataenda wapi? Kila mtu hustle tu kivyake.
Did they watch Titanic? Did they watch Titanic? There was that old lady who was acting as an old version of who? Kate Winslet. We don't retire. We ain't going nowhere.
Yeah, let the new actors hustle equally, like the old people who've been in the industry for long. Yes. But thank you so much, Lydia. Let me, I believe Serah is now going to be live. But usitoke kwa nyumba. We might call you just to answer one question or so.
No worries, my dear. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, thanks. Oh, hi, Serah.
Hi.
Hey, yeah. Now we are good.
Finally, gosh.
Yeah, finally. Yes. Now you're very clear. Now you're very clear.
Great. I changed to the laptop. I didn't want to, but then, yeah.
The laptop is always a better option with StreamYard. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So, yes. Sarah, the other question has already been answered by quite a number of people. But the other part that I wanted to ask, in your script, both as a producer and as a writer, in your script, you had these two gentlemen whose story also came out strongly. There was Localia, whose story also came out very strongly. He said he was brought up by a prostitute because of a father who was never there. And then the other boy, like, this is also my sister. So I'm looking at it like abuse was not just for Lydia's character. There was abuse in the character of the previous, or even of the boys, their previous parenting. The boy said he grew up in the streets. So tell me, why did you bring in that backstory of these two characters into this domestic abuse story?
Well, because I felt what happens to you shapes who you become. And then sometimes things that happen in our childhood that are ignored continue to shape who we are until you either act on it or something. Like, I don't know, canceling or, get rid of that. So I wanted to show that guys who go off, like become thugs and the dredges of society, have somewhere where they started, where this switch sort of came to be.
Yeah.
So for these two guys, their hard life when they were young made it that right now they think, life is not that sacred, for one. As in, they've seen such hardship that some things that for us guys would be, why am I hurting another person? For him, it's just a small thing to get money now, better him than me. So I think violence begets violence, which begets violence, which begets violence. We just need to stop it somewhere.
When you say violence, when you say violence begets violence, it brings me to there was Nana's question. She was talking about how do we even end all this. Even Njoki looked at it like, when people say for the sake of children, question is, for which children? When these children beget violence in their parents' relationship, they will also be violent. So why do we keep staying for the children? And that's one thing that the society really finds it hard to understand. They say, where are you going to go with those children? And even when you live with them, you're told they are still ours. The child will one day come back to their home. Question is, who refused the children from coming back to their home?
Nobody. And you know what? Please leave. Because these kids grow up seeing this violence, they tend to do the same when they leave their houses. Because they know, you know what? Chicks, when mom does something wrong, or mom serves dad tea instead of coffee, dad throws the cup at her.
Yes.
So your kids, I think later on in life, will also start treating you with mother at some point, because they see you as this person, whose power is always taken away. And I feel kids of homes that, when kids have seen violence in their homes, either they're going to be violent against people around them, people they love, because, one of the languages of love that they know is violence.
Yeah.
So then that goes another generation, and then they raise kids who are watching them beat up their wives and husbands, and another generation. I think we should walk away from a situation that you're feeling is getting violent. Then that way we protect the children. A friend of mine was saying, sorry?
Yeah. No, I just wanted, now that you've started a friend of mine, I just wanted to ask you the same thing. Have you ever, or do you know a friend?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I'm seeing a therapist, and my therapist, when I was talking about my relationships and whatever, then saw a pattern of abuse that I hadn't seen. So, but it's not physical abuse. I've not been hit in a relationship.
Yeah.
But he was talking about emotional abuse. Yes. And, I had pause, because I'm like, what do you mean emotional abuse? And then, she was telling me the stories that I'm telling her. Like, say we go somewhere and then I'm verbally insulted. So all I remember about that place, which was a beautiful, picturesque place, is the assault. And how the story started was, we were talking about, think of somewhere to go to that is peaceful and good. So I remembered this beach, and I go there and it's beautiful. And then I stopped and she asked me, okay, what happened there? So I'm like, oh, I'm just remembering a situation while on holiday, and I was being screamed at. I can't even remember what I was being screamed at about, but I remember being screamed at. I remember how it felt. I remember feeling lost and all of that. And when will this end and all of that? And so now going there instead of the beach, I've seen the beach, I was relaxing, and then that thought has come in. And so we, talked about the emotional abuse, which is as bad as physical abuse. Only with emotional abuse, you don't even know you're going through it. Number one, most times you don't know you're going through it.
Yeah.
It's just the effects of this abuse that are seen on the outside. So you become withdrawn, all this, home life.
Everybody tells you you have changed.
You've changed. Yeah. You don't call us anymore. It's because if I call you and then I come and meet you for coffee, and then it's going to be Shida in my house for another 3 months, what's the point of coming to meet you for coffee? See, I just slowly go like, okay, let's talk tomorrow. Let's talk, not having friends. And you don't realize, because it didn't happen today, right now. You just realize, okay, all of a sudden, yes, you don't do the things you used to do even once in 6 months. You don't see your friends anymore. You don't, you're isolated kabisa. This person becomes everything in your life.
The sad thing about emotional abuse is even the things that you could like doing, even just at home, like cooking, you suddenly stop enjoying simple things like that you used to like cooking, even your favorite, your favorite snacks. You're being alive. You're not living to the fullest. Like, today I'm awake. Okay, you're a zombie. Oh, I need to go to work. Oh, let me go and come back. Okay, sawa. Oh, how are you? Fine. Okay, bye. I love you. I love you. Actually, you say them because you have to say them. If you don't say them, it's another problem.
Exactly. And then you start asking yourself, when was the last time I was actually happy? The happiness that you feel, that feels like sun on your face. You can't remember the last time you felt happy. But out there, you look like this nice, happy couple. When people look at you, they're like, oh my God, you've settled down. You have a nice man. You're the only one who knows what's happening at home.
I actually like the part where, in case of anything, people tell you, this one is a nice one. In case of anything, wewe ndio kimbelembele utaribu peke yako.
Yes. Na usiwe kichwa ngumu, Serah, tunakujua. Kwanza in Kikuyu, now Mwihaki, keep this one, Don't be a hard head. Because we know you're the one who's always the problematic one.
Oh my God.
And this other one, you're a chick, you're single, you're the problem.
Oh no, and this other one for us who are above 30, like, you are now 30. Stop being too choosy.
It starts at 26 there. There's no one, you're not showing us anyone. Even that one, you remember the one? This is a dude you introduced when you were like, 19? And they didn't like him. What happened to that one? Because now you no longer introduce dudes to them. So the one of Isaac, you're like, who? Even you don't remember this person. Because Kwanza, you don't even call them what they're being called. Exactly. Now you start telling me, do you remember Serah Mwihaki? Who is Serah Mwihaki? Because to me, maybe I call them
The one who came and brought for us this. That's how they remember them.
Oh yeah, the one I made you make. There's a guy I liked, and my mom made me make him lunch. she tells him, "You're invited for lunch." I'm like, "Okay, mom, what's going on here?" And then she supervised me cooking.
Wow, okay.
For this guy, she liked him. She liked him, so she supervised my cooking. Yeah, tasted salt, everything is perfect. Good. Now let's feed this nice gentleman. Do you know? Should ask about him. God.
And you know, sadly enough, it is this kind of pressure that makes women, from the first date that this is the wrong man. But because everyone has been asking you, oh, what about him? What about, you start feeling like he's not that bad. No one is perfect. And you settle for that man because you're like, okay, beyond this, it was like 6 months before I got a date. Now I've gotten one.
Yeah.
Let me be nice. Let me just agree. The problem with society is they think that beautiful women always have boyfriends. Let me tell you, in this world, beautiful women are the ones who don't have boyfriends. Absolutely. So you can take 3 to 6 months without a boyfriend because all the others think you have a boyfriend.
Yes.
So by the time one comes, you're like, oh, thank God. And then the society's pressure, you're like, let me settle. But even deep down in your heart, this is not the right person, but you settle because the society has put enough pressure on you. And that makes it even harder for people to leave because you're like, what will people say again? You become powerless. Not just sometimes you can be powerless because of the things that this man does to you, the way Lydia was talking. Like the man takes away your self-esteem. But you can also be powerless because of the pressure from the society, your aunties, your mothers, And if you are an orphan, it is worse because if you have parents, you can say, Nitaenda nyumbani, I'll stay with my parents no matter what. If you don't have a job, now you don't, it's even worse. You're like, where will I start? And so all these social pressures make people stay and make people die. I mean, there are people who die seated, they die driving. The accidents happen and people say, oh, the person was drunk. Sometimes it was not the person was drunk. The person drank because they were stressed. So the person was stressed.
Yes.
And people don't want to see the stress part. They just want to see the person was drunk. They're like, but we were here with her. She was just happy. And she really drank. I mean, why did she drink more than normal? Because she was stressed.
Exactly.
And we as a society, a lot of times we also do injustice. I think I'm like Njoki. Nowadays, I am the divorce advocate. When you come and tell me, if the man has not beaten you, I'll tell you, how bad is it? I can tell you, okay, just try. But if he does this again, my dear, we can't be solving the same thing again. But there are cases, somebody comes and tells them, my dear, if he beats you once, he'll beat you again, leave. Me, I am from the Leave Party, leave, and there are men who've told their wives, stop talking to her, that woman will make you leave me.
That's the other thing. Why do they keep thinking your friends, you don't need friends and you should lose your friends?
Exactly, yeah. But the thing, what we forget is when people are getting married, we are friends. You can do this to me, I can do that to you. But when I look at Kidnapped, if you cannot even undress in front of that man, then he is no longer a friend, I mean, if physically he can't even see your body, then truth is you can't tell him even any secret of yours. And so when I look at it from that perspective, a lot of women cannot even walk even in a short dress. Yeah, they have beautiful legs. They are too scared because of the criticism. The person has made them feel inadequate. And that is the beginning. That is the beginning of abuse. When suddenly you love short skirts and you can't wear them. My dear, when suddenly you loved your red lipstick and now you can't wear them.
No, you can't because it's for women who are blah, blah, blah.
He likes you natural, suddenly.
Yes. Oh, and the women he stares at, because they keep staring, the women he stares at are the ones who are made up in those short dresses, with eyelashes from here to the gate. But for you, don't dress up. Look like
Yeah.
you've taken a shower and you're sitting in the house the whole day.
Before I bring NJERI Mwihaki, yeah. I said before I bring in NJERI Mwihaki to give us solutions to these problems, I want you to answer 2 questions.
Yes.
One, the one you are answering.
Okay, ask the question.
And the second one, just answer that one first, then I'll tell you the second so that you don't mix them up, yeah.
Which one was I answering?
No, what you were saying, yeah.
What was I talking about? I was talking about...
Yeah, the way they make you change, yeah.
Break you down piece by piece by piece. So all the things that he liked about you, that he knows you enjoy doing, the short skirts. Why are you dressing like that? Who are you trying to attract? Yeah, the tight body shaping so you look nice and beautiful that he used to like, that he kept saying, please wear that red dress. Now that red dress is, Kwani, where are you going? Have you become a lady of the night? Because, that term is, they like throwing that term around. And by they, I mean abusive men. Yeah.
There's an excuse that you also used in your film that a lot of men also use is, it was the devil. I'm sorry, that was not the real me. Like when he went to the hospital to see her, and then it's like, I'm so sorry, that was not me. You know me. I'm like, you know me? I'm like,
you made me do this. You made me do this.
It's all about you. You're the mistake, not me. And I'm like, this blame game? Yeah.
Until you start believing it.
Yes, you start believing that you are the problem. Yeah.
Yes, you believe you're the problem completely. And I think that's why people go, left or right. Like you go into religion or you go into something and go in it completely. Because now you're trying to figure out what happened to me. When did I lose my mind?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Sarah, this discussion iko tamu. I think we might just have a discussion just you and you alone. But now for today. So, NJERI, the next speaker is NJERI Mwihaki. NJERI owns a shelter. And I want NJERI to tell us about this because this is another alternative to women. Yeah, apart from killing the spouses and apart from leaving to go to the streets, we have an alternative now. And NJERI Mwihaki is here to tell us that. NJERI Mwihaki, she's the founder of Usikimye. So, Sarah, I'll just remove you from the stream. But I'm so glad we overcome these technology problems and we are able to have you.
Oh, thank goodness. I'm glad as well.
Oh, thank you. Sawa.
Okay, bye. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you. Hi, Serah. Hello. Hi, NJERI. Hi, NJERI. Hi, NJERI.
Hi.
Yeah, you can hear me?
Hi, how are you today?
I'm fine.
I am very well. Can you hear me?
I can hear you very clearly.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, I can.
Now NJERI.
Oh, great.
Ebu, tell me. Why did you start a shelter? I'd like just to, I just want to first of all go straight to the point. Why did you open a shelter for women? Can you hear me? Why did you open a shelter for women?
Because
yes,
of the disproportionate violence I saw among women, and them being thrown out, and them having nowhere to go. Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Please log out of Facebook.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, if you log out of Facebook, you can be able to see me on StreamYard. Facebook has 5-second delay.
Yes, I can.
Okay, good. So if you now you can hear me.
Oh.
So I'm saying yes. The same thing.
Yes, I can.
Yeah.
Yes.
Log out of Facebook
Now,
and be
the
with me
reason
on
I
StreamYard.
oh, I log out of Facebook. Oh,
Log out of
okay.
like
I am on
reboot
StreamYard.
Facebook. Good, good.
Okay, we are good now?
Now I think we should be good. So tell me, why did you open a shelter?
The reason I opened a shelter was basically because there is a lot of violence for women, and most women don't have a place where they can go to. Yeah, because most of the time when a woman is thrown out, even her children are also thrown out with her. You know, the children become part of her. And then where does this woman go? You can't go back home. You can't go to your friends. I mean, imagine me and my 5 children coming to stay over at your house. How long can you host me? And when we do that, then you find that the women in a shelter, they have time to think, you know, just to take a breath away from the situation that was at home, just have a time to think, a time to go through counseling, a time where they don't even have to think, where is the food going to come from? What am I going to do? So it gives them time to just gather themselves and arrange, you know, have a plan. And then, you know, when they leave the shelter, they know where they're going. Rather than just come and stay at a friend and you're feeling like I'm household, or at your relatives and your mother is like, Siuliolewa. You know how that works, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You're married, so we rudi kwa mzee wako. Unajua mwanamke ni kuvumilia. And such are the stories. So basically that is why there was a need for shelter. But then again, disproportionately, women are thrown out a lot. In the middle of the night, where do you go? Where do you go? You face the danger of being raped, you face the danger of being, you know, so many other things that can happen. So a shelter was needed. So where women know they can go, be supported, and, you know, just go through counseling and just a moment of rest and quiet.
In your shelter, how long do people stay?
Between 1 to 2 weeks.
Between 1 to 2 weeks. You told me about, like, you have counseling sessions also going on at the shelter, so that when somebody is there, they can also be counseled. Tell me more about that. Yeah.
We do have counseling sessions. We have counseling sessions in here. Yeah, we have volunteer counselors who come here and then they counsel the women, because I mean, after you've left a situation of abuse, obviously once you've left a situation of abuse, then you have to be, you know, to go through a bit of counseling. You have to go through a bit of being talked to, therapy, being told that it is okay, you can make it, and we need that. Yeah, most women need that, just to be told that you can make it, you can do it, you're beautiful, you're not what people have told you. You know, there's a lot of gaslighting in situation of domestic abuse. Yeah.
Now,
so
I'm
counseling is very mandatory. The other thing we're doing.
Yeah. Yeah, go on.
Now, I was saying the other thing we're doing apart from counseling is life skills. Trying to teach them life skills as well, especially to the one who are not as financially able as the, you know, we are all in different stratas of society. So there are people who obviously because of maybe poverty and things like that, we have people who are really affected. So if they can be able to earn a living for themselves, and then it would be a great thing for them.
Well, one thing I'd like to ask you, maybe this is a sensitive question.
So life skills like soap making.
Yeah. Okay. Like one thing that this might be a sensitive question. Quite a number of organizations have call lines. You can hear me? Okay. Quite a number of organizations just have call lines and call centers, and that's not enough. However, you are having a shelter where you are providing food, clothing, and shelter. How do you support this? Because that's very expensive. If you have even just 5 families only, how do you manage to do this?
In this shelter, we're able to take up to 8 women, yeah? Those ones can sleep comfortably. This is self-funded, I have to say. It is from me and well-wishers. We don't have any grants or government support or whatever. No, this is fully self-funded. So this is a labor of love. I receive it. It's basically a labor of love.
Yeah.
You know what you are doing, NJERI. A lot of organizations who have the capacity to do that have not been able to do because of lack of, I don't know whether to say it's lack of goodwill or just lack of strategy. Because let me say, I have been through abusive marriage and I left. And I can tell you, the day I left, I had one bag and I went with it to my aunt's place.
Yes.
After that, I went home, like my home area, Shags, Tomabe, and I came back to Nairobi. You know that feeling of like, I cannot stay at my aunt's place because I mean, I'm a full grown woman, I'm working. To other people, it's like, I mean, you're working, you can easily move into another place. But even looking for a house in this Nairobi, starting from scratch, buying mattress and a bed and Meko, my dear, that time alone, I spent like almost 2 weeks with just the support of friends here and there. And so when you talk about somebody just having one place to be there for 1 week or 2 weeks, let me tell you, you're doing a great thing. Because somebody just needs a place to organize their thoughts, to know, okay, now with this is my budget, this is my salary, this is what I have in the account right now. Where can I get an affordable house near to work? Let me tell you, because of the stress that I was in, the place I got was so far away from work. For about 1 month, I was spending so much. There's a lot that it was changing into my life. I was starting to get used to matatu life. As in, it was that thing of like, you don't even know where to start. So having a shelter like this is enough to have somebody restructure their life and just think a way forward. And I really applaud you for whatever you're doing. We really hope a lot of people will come through to be able to at least give food and shelter, and even the people who will have been come from the shelter to be able to also support, so that let it be like a snowball. Yeah, the work can go on, because what you're doing is it's very great. People might not see the importance, but a call. It's for me, these call lines, call centers. My question is always, after somebody has called that call line, then are you going to tell them where to go next? Because for me, that's always my question. Like after the call. Yeah, tell me.
Then what?
Yes.
The thing is, most people who've come from a situation of abuse, they're traumatized. They're not thinking correctly and they're not thinking straight. You're not even in a place to make the right decisions, or even in the financial position to actually even be able to like even go and get even a house. Most people don't even know how to start over again. You could have been in a long-term marriage and now you're being told you have to start over. Like you said, you have to go and look for a house far away. But when you're in a place where I can make calls and tell friends, look, this is the thing that has happened, and can you give me a mattress? Do you have an extra mattress, an extra blanket? Can you guys, even raise a bit of money for me? We rent a house and I can be able to move out. I think that would be such an important thing, yeah? When you're going through and you're doing it from a place where nobody's telling you, let a pesa chakula, or mom, where are we going to sleep? Or, it's very hard as a fully grown woman to just go and integrate yourself in another family. So that is the need for the shelter. In regards to why others are not able to do this, I have no idea. But because I've been rescuing women in the past 6 months, I realized just rescuing them and placing them with other women is not enough. They need just a place to stay where peace of mind and support was paramount for them. Yeah.
Thank you.
So that is why we started what we are doing, and hopefully we will be able to go on. We've seen so much goodwill from people, so much support. I don't even know what to say. We are here because people supported our dream and our vision. Yeah.
Thank you, NJERI. I'll what I'll do, if with your permission, if I can be able to put, yes, with your permission, I'll put your number
and my network
on the
has
comments.
gone, Huangala.
Okay.
Hey.
So. Okay. But anyway, what I'm saying is, with your permission, I'll put your number on the comments, and then people can call you to support, either even with furniture, because you need furniture, you need beds, you need cutlery and all that. Yeah.
If somebody needs help, they can call us.
Yeah.
If somebody, all right.
If somebody wants to help, they can call.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I think I'm getting feedback. But so
that would be very great.
Thank you so much,
Daktari.
Asante sana pia. Okay, that was NJERI wa MIGWI. NJERI wa MIGWI is having a shelter, and because of do I call it? Because of security reasons, we never disclose where shelters are located. But in case you need help, we can always give you the line, and then you can always call back. But as a matter of principles, we don't always see where shelters are located. So next, I am bringing in this young girl. She's called Antonia.
Hi,
Antonia,
Daktari.
I'm so glad to have you. I told you are going to be the youngest in the panel today.
Yeah, and just to say, I stand on the shoulders of great women. For sure, everyone who's spoken before me is awesome and amazing and inspiring and challenging in all, spectacular. I can't think of a better way to have spent my evening on Friday, honestly. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Now, Antonia, let me start by saying you are a student at Kenyatta University.
Alumni.
Even though I did not teach you, you are in KU, so it's okay.
You probably taught some of my friends, and it rubs off. It rubs off, trust me.
Yeah, but the one thing I like is that the moment you cleared college, you started working on activism. I don't know, was that by default or was that intentional?
I think I always say there was always a nudge in me as a child to speak up against injustice. I was always a child who defended other people in class. I was always the person who said, no, I don't think that's fair. I think that requires more conversation. And for a better part of my childhood and my teenage years, I was a problematic child who could not take instructions or law without questioning. And I am grateful really for the family and the space where I grew up, and my parents really for allowing me to say what I needed to say and to be heard, and for my opinion to matter even as a child. And so when I went to Kenyatta University to study sociology, gender and economics, I sort of fell in the right class for how God and the universe works. And here I was in university. It was a bit after the suspension of student leaders, so I was keen on getting my degree and sort of saying, thinking, hey, that mouth of yours will get you suspended for 1,000 academic days, and you know how that can be quite life-stopping. But after going through my emotions, it just became clear to me that there's still work to be done. There's still people who need to be spoken for, but also for my own self, because really this system is not designed to love and cuddle you. The world we live in requires people to speak up when bad things happen at whatever point. It's the silence that enables domestic violence. It's the hushing that enables child abuse, and so on and so forth.
I want to ask you a trick question, because now you are with Fight Inequality Kenya. One, when you watch our movie Kidnapped, they ended the movie by killing the man. So you see, this is justice in two ways. The woman got her justice, but did the man get his justice?
Wow. As a life-loving human being, even without the identity of on being the convener of the Fight Inequality Alliance, I think it's to denounce violence in all its forms and in all its manifestation, and to say, if we live in a society where the aggrieved or people who've been wenye wamekosewa feel the need to harm others, then what is it about this society that we are not questioning? Because essentially how we are supposed to be is that when bad things happen to someone, they are able to find justice and ways of healing. So what is it about how we live, how we've designed our justice system that leaves victims with no opportunity to find justice within the preservation of life, but also the presence of mercy and kindness in our society? And what does that do to us as a people? The resulting to violence to be heard. What does it reflect in our in our conversations, in our dialogues? What does it, or conflict resolution ways, right? So it's a bigger question on justice and where it presents itself and the way it presents itself and the access of it, or how we understand it or accept it. Because I believe by the time someone picks a gun and decides, I have to end this someone's life in a situation of conflict, it means they've explored all other options and they are not there, or they feel they don't have the power to interact with those systems in place, or those systems cannot give them the justice or the peace they need to continue with their lives. So it's either them or me, as another speaker said, which I think it's a bigger reflection of our societal breakdown than just the individual taking action.
Yeah, true. Because it reaches a point where, as humans, we ask ourselves, whom do I save? Do I save this situation or do I save myself? But then when you look at a lot of situations when it comes to saving lives, hata kwa ndege, you are told, save yourself first. Then even if you have a baby, you save them next. But you see, in such situations, people want to save the baby first before they save themselves. They want to save the marriage. They want to save the family's name before they save themselves. Yet, naturally, with our natural instincts, if somebody was throwing something at us, we would protect ourselves, then run to protect the next person. So we wonder, why is it that in an abusive relationship, why do people want to save other things except themselves? In the situations that you have worked in, especially for abuse, whether it is men or women, what is it that made people stay there? What was even the three main reasons that kept coming up? Like, why didn't you leave? Always those reasons. You're like, I know. That's what you're going to say.
I think, just to mention, for almost 2.5 years, I worked for an ungovernmental organization that supported survivors of violence, Center for Rights Education and Awareness. And for me, it was just seeing survivors of violence who have been socialized. Let us not forget, we are products of our communities. We are social products. From birth, these things that women or girls and boys are taught they should be and they should behave, and growing up, you sort of have to follow through those patterns. I was watching someone and say, we might say all these things on social media, but deep down, you know what your mother requires of, right? And so it's that socialization that keeps people there. What will people say? One, but not just anyone. What will people say in your close circle? For me, it was always, and I remember my mother telling me this clearly, you can tell us, but you can't say that around your uncles or your grandmother, they will be offended. So literally, it's that thing of knowing you living this marriage might disappoint those people you look up to, because we are taught to look for societal approval and to live up to that expectation. And then let us not forget that for a long time, in fact, it's only now, me growing up, when women or people who've been in abusive relationships, because there are also situations where men have started divorce proceedings. I'm not just saying it's for men. Divorcees were not good people. But even further, women who've been divorced or are single women, for whatever reason, even widows, you are a bad woman in the society, leave alone the close circle of your friends. And there are consequences to that. So as at now, it's really to interrogate, then if these expectations are so harmful, why do we keep on holding to them? What is it about these expectations that we love so much that we must hold on to them? What is it about them? Is it that we are so used to pain and violence that we cannot think of other options outside pain and violence, right?
Yeah.
Because one, we are also raising a generation of people to accept violence in relationships, to live with it, because your mother survived it, so who are you to think now you can easily live and you're different? What is special about you, right? You're your mother's daughter, right? But also, another reason why survivors don't leave it is the lack of support from communities. Before me was NJERI, who started a shelter. But I can tell you for sure, I sat with clients in the office on Friday evenings like this, up to 10 p.m., looking for accommodation from relatives. They have 6 children. The shelters are full. And then they call the first sister. The sister says, my husband doesn't want a burden. They call someone else. The situation, we don't have money, what. That support, I think innately as a society we must ask ourselves, what is it that we don't show up for those we claim to love, right? Why don't we value our female relatives or those who are in suffering? And what is it in our hearts that has been hardened? And it comes, and for me, when I think about it, Zippy, it is how our systems, how the systems of how we live, our economic system, our political system have dehumanized us, so that we don't see those who do not have as human beings deserving love and care or our attention. And so we end up saying, not my monkey, not my problem. Even to those people who are in our close circle,
Yeah, when you talk about that, I remember culturally, I think the stigmatization is too much. In Luo, they even have a name for it. They call it Odi Oduogo, means has gone and come back. So, that term alone in itself is very stigmatizing. Like wherever you go, when you go to the funeral, they ask, and who people like talking, so and so has gotten married somewhere, and so, she left her husband. It's never like she broke up with the husband. It is always she left. You get what I mean? Like the term that is used culturally in itself makes you stigmatized, because they don't look at it like it was like the two parties separated. It is the woman who always left. And so, and you find this is common in every culture. The choice of words in itself stigmatizes the woman. It's always like the woman is the one who has left. She is the one who cannot live with a man. And now ours is Odi Oduogo, has gone and has come back.
And the connotation of giving up as if you are a lazy person. It's not laziness, like you're living your life.
You are now a reject, or you are rejected,
Exactly.
And you find even the men start looking at it like alituringia na hata huyo akashindwa kukaa nayo, and all these words, if somebody puts their mind in it, it is very stigmatizing. So that if, without counseling, like Nana talked about counseling, if somebody did not have a foundation of counseling from a tender age, trust me, that is the reason why most people go back. Because
and also they ask
1 year later you go back.
And also the understanding that a lot of childhoods are very traumatic, that they are, and it's not just violence in schools, it's also institutionalized violence. Let us not forget that people who are in marriage age right now survived 24 years of pure dictatorship, exclusion, and marginalization. And let us not forget that. I keep on telling younger people like me, hold the older generation to a point of love and care. There's a system they survived that us have no idea how it works, have no idea what it means to not be able to mention the president's name or take an MP to court or a minister to court. The culture of silence. It was very institutionalist. And there's a lot of healing as a country that needs to happen. So that we stop being so angry with ourselves, and because the anger and the trauma is what reflects in our personal lives. If you see how Kenyans mind their own business, it's not a good thing. It's as a nation, it's not a good thing. We need tunafaa kujihusisha na mambo ya state, how institutions work, so because they reflect in our lives also and how we interact with each other.
Because like when you talk about like the culture of silence, there are different ways of looking at it. Like the culture of silence of like the person being abused decides to keep quiet until she reaches the breaking point. The culture of silence also of the whole society, all the neighbors, everybody in the family knows, but they all decide to keep quiet and not help and not even talk about it. So when you look at the
and
culture
not talk
of silence,
about it
and not talk about it until the day the person is killed, then they're like, I used to notice that man used to beat that woman. Oh, you know, I used to notice that woman, her character was not good. She's the one who has killed this one. And you know, why do we as a society also wait until the end to break that silence? Because, like you said, it's a culture that's been there. Like we are told, oh, don't interfere in other people's business. You're the one who look bad. NJERI mentioned it. Like, I mean, you will be the bad one. And so people have coined a habit of keeping to their business, not wanting to meddle. But in the end, if you remember, traditionally, children were for the society. Marriage was for the society. But I think, I don't know whether that one still applies nowadays, because when you call your brothers or your in-laws to come and solve it, they don't want to come to the main meeting. They all come and tell you, just solve it. You know,
Just solve.
nobody wants to come to the main meeting for solving this issue. Everybody just wants to just talk this thing. Yeah.
It's the fact that as a society and just saying a nation in a loose term, because that's a discussion for another day, but we've not learned to confront our issues head on. Let us not forget that in our families, a lot of them, especially, it's, you know, nyamaza tu, hii maneno haisemagwi hivyo. Do not say anything bad, right? Do not say, Zippy, when you say this during the function, you hurt my feelings, because I believe you should understand where I'm coming from. And I'll give an example of, like, women who are not able to give birth for whatever reason, or don't want children for whatever reason. You know, they are not, their mother instinct has not kicked in, so me, I don't want children. And then someone says, oh, this one doesn't want children because they are busy making money. Is it bad for women to make money? No. Is it bad for a woman not to want children? No.
No.
Whether they can have children, is it your business?
And
Absolutely
when you have one
not.
or two children, they're like, you are not adding more.
You are not adding more. No, but do we hurt our relatives who've made choices that we do not necessarily agree with? Absolutely, yes. Is there a space for that conversation to happen, for me to say, when you said this, that hurt my feelings, and I need you to acknowledge that you hurt me? No. So when bigger things happen, that people will keep quiet, right? Because we are not used to having the smaller conversations. I mean, it's a build-up of silencing small things. When children come home and say, or visit relatives and come and say, I was not happy in that home. Children often do not have the vocabulary for violence that happens. They don't. Then you call your sister and say, ulitesa watoto wangu, nini. Instead of saying, the child said they were not happy and I'm calling to find out what happened.
Yes.
Or having a conversation with the child to figure out. So that when your daughter gets married in future, it's not a question of, why are they not telling you? Or when they tell you, why are you feeling the need to be powerless? Because let's not forget that it's these social structures, our families are our protective mechanisms, even in future. If I got married today and I could not have spoken to my mother about anything I'm going through in my life right now, there is no way I'm going to tell my parents if my husband starts beating me, right?
Yeah,
if the culture of sharing problems has never been there in our families, it's not going to start suddenly because a man is beating you. And even when the survivors find the courage to say it, then the family has no idea what to do. Because even them, they've never dealt with their person being a victim of any situation. So now it becomes, oh my God, what do we do?
What do we do? What do we tell him?
Na tulikula pesa ya mahari, na tulivaa kitenge tukaenda harusi. What do we do? And then they start telling victims funny things like, yeah, and we don't have to take sides. Oh, my son-in-law bought me this suit. For crying out, it's one suit. It is a single suit. You know, I think families have to draw a line where they condone violence and where they stop. And it's radical love. It's the kind of radical love that NJERI is showing, that the filmmakers and the actors, you know, putting their spirit, tears, blood, and soul in this film to sort of show, look, there's something happening and we need to pay attention, all of us. Because I think at a personal level, even before I started doing this work, I used to ask myself, what will I do when someone says, I need a place to stay? Or if my sister calls me and says, my high school, my university boyfriend has beaten me up, what would I do?
Yeah.
Because
You know,
it looks
when you talk about that, I also remember a scene in the movie. Yeah, when the moment the guy had said this is not going to work, and she had thrown the glass on or to hit the guy, and it hit the wall, and she called 3 people, and none of them could just talk to her. You know,
yeah.
none of them. Everyone was like, "Hello, there they are," and then they go on with their stuff. As in, at that moment, you ask yourself, "Okay, where exactly is she going to go now?" Because that house was for that man and he locked it. Here she is, she's calling these 3 friends and no one is picking the call. Yeah.
And you know, it's like I was watching that film Zippy and say, what? Did I by accident leave a client's file open in someone's suite? Because it is such a reflection of what happens every day when you deal with survivors, every single day. And it's in that situation when you think, what will the survivor do to support themselves right now? But also, it's extended violence, right? That you've been abused in an intimate relationship that you trusted. The normal human reaction would be, oh, let me call my sister and see whether they can help me. Because relationships have hierarchies, right? So you are the closer ones, and then you're trying to open the circle, pole. Then you keep on opening the circle and no one is responding in all the circles you're opening. And so even the feeling of isolation on the victim heightens. That's why, you know, even as there's counseling, there's very need to do very extensive community support for the survivor to sort of see that they are loved and they are wanted, because it is not uncommon for survivors to live abusive relationships and then they end up committing suicide. And it's very heartbreaking. You know, we ask ourselves, what is it? What happened? They had left or going back to that situation.
And you know, people have that. The moment somebody commits suicide, somebody comes and says, "Oh, you know, they called me and I was busy. I didn't speak. They tried telling me this, but I could not get what the problem was." And so people say all these things after it has happened. If only people took a moment to just call and just listen. But then sometimes people just want somebody to listen for them to rant and share. Just it makes them just feel, oh, I have somebody who took the time to listen to me. I think we really need that. But thank you so much, Antonia. Naona muda Kiswahili imeisha na hapo. Time is not on our side.
Kiswahili imeisha na corona.
You know, Kiswahili imeisha na corona. I don't know whether to say muda imeisha hapo. I don't know. Kiswahili is not for people from my home area, you know. Yeah, but I'd like just to hear your final words. You've talked about changing the culture of silence and needing community support, because that's the reason why people stay, and that's the reason why people continue abusing. That's the reason why people continue stigmatizing. So there's a lot to learn. You've taught us so much. Now, if you can teach us all this at this age, now how much more will you teach us?
Like I said when I started, I stand on the shoulders of great women like you and the others who spoke before me. But I think also to sort of wrap this in a beautiful way, there is no absolute accountability. There's very little accountability for perpetrators of violence. Women, men, I mean, we punish victims all the time for actions they did not commit. And it is very, when I began saying that we are social beings, these perpetrators do not see violence in movies and decide, oh, today I'm going to beat my wife. They saw it somewhere. They knew how to exercise their power unfairly. Let us not forget that domestic violence, intimate partner violence, is an expression of power at the household level. Right? It is knowing me as a husband, I can beat you today. You might yell, the neighbors might come, you might go to the police station. Kama uko mjanja sana unaweza enda police station. But essentially, there's no one who will ask me why.
Yeah.
There's no one who will ask me why, right? But also, what kind of sons are we raising? Are we raising men who are in tune with their emotions? So that, fine, you're angry. Daktari, I've been seeing all these things and my anger is boiling. But have I thought about beating the person I'm living with in this house with? No, absolutely not. If I was going out to the street, would I think beating some random woman on the streets or raping a girl would vent that anger? No, we must think of ways as a community to sort of address all these causal factors collectively. Conversations, interrogating our families, how we live, how we communicate, how we express our negative emotions. Because I think as Africans, we know how to laugh and dance. When we are happy, we are happy. It is the other extreme end of the emotions that we have not figured out what to do.
When we are angry, we are angry.
Yeah, and then we become totally distracted. And there are ways to process negative emotions without being hurtful, right?
Yeah.
Right? But really, to step up for those of us that have been hurt, to show them compassion and love, and to understand that we live in a society that is designed to hurt us as women, as Black people, as people from the global South, as they like to call us. And so the least we can do is make our homes and personal spaces a safety haven for those of us who share those spaces with us.
Yeah.
That will be it for me. Yeah.
Thank you so much for those powerful words. Now these ones are take home moment. It was good you are the last one, but because I am seeing powerful people here, I want them to come and give their final words. I want Serah to come and give her final words, then Njoki, then we call Nana to close. I know it's 4 minutes to time, but I mean, we can always extend 5 minutes when we are having such a powerful discussion. So thank you so much, Antonia. And like I told you, we are partnering. We have to fight inequality together.
Awesome. And you can like us on Facebook at Kenya Fight Inequality Alliance, where we focus on structural reform. Awesome.
I liked it during Juliani's concert.
Oh, nice. Karibu sana.
Okay.
All right. Goodbye.
Serah, give us your final words. Hello? Where has Serah gone to? Oh, yeah. Okay. Njoki, give us your final words. Njoki, you are muted.
Zippy, my lips.
Oh, good. No. I'm wondering whether you are doing a mime class or what.
I know. Sorry about that. So first of all, Zippy, I'm very impressed with those two young ladies you brought on, Antonia and the MIGWI lady. They're very young and way wiser than their years. And the work they're doing is so commendable. Yeah. Pass my love and appreciations and accolade for them. Yeah. It's a job I wouldn't be able to do while it requires a certain sensitivity and a connection. Yeah. And so I admire them for that. And thank you, ladies, for the great work you're doing. For the great creatives, Serah, Lydia, fantastic work. Let's keep telling our stories. Nobody's going to tell our women's stories if we leave others to write and make those films.
Yeah.
Also for us women, let's not do copycatting, copy-pasting of other stories. Let's tell our real stories. If we don't do it, who is going to do it for us? And when somebody else does it for us, they will tell their version. So
that's very true.
Tell our version. Yeah. Let's tell our version. Let's get out there and do it. And at the end of the day, I think any volatile relationships at home, whether it's the man beating the woman psychologically, physically, or whether it's the woman doing the souping mentally and physically, I think at the end of the day, we have to ask ourselves, what is the root cause of this? And those who take the beating and just go, oh yeah, let me deal with it. There's also the question of what is it about the way we were nurtured by our own mothers? What are these fears in the society the thing about the people don't want to be isolated, they don't want to be talked about, they don't want people to be pointing fingers at them. Could it be that's where the other partner takes advantage of? And then we become also very plasticky characters where we're saying how it's so lovey-dovey at home, but we're using cakes of foundation to hide the bruises, you know? So I think going back to the root cause and at one time being positively selfish. Positively selfish being, if I continue, I'll be so damaged. And to recover, it's going to take me a long, long time. And what I feel is that there is no formula for everybody. Everybody has to have their own formula. And what works for me might not what works for Zippy. What works for Zippy, if I try it, it might even bruise me more. It might even mess me a lot more. So let's tell our stories. The more we tell them, the more we give. It's like film for women. It's like a toolkit. In a toolkit, you put many different pieces of tools and all that, different types to fix different problems. If my sufuria, the ones with the handle, the frying pan goes loose, somebody will go for a very sophisticated screwdriver. For me, I just look for my blunt knife. They will still do the job. Both will still do the job. So not every solution fits every woman, but the key thing and why we have to keep telling these stories and doing these films is to give people as many tools for their life toolkit. I'll end there. For a moment, I think I sounded very philosophical, so I'll end there.
Very, very.
Yeah.
But thank you so much, Njoki. I think today it was a very inspiring day. I think when who Antonia talked about the culture of silence, I think it dug deep. Like we are brought up to shut up and shut it down and keep it down, you know. And so when people can't leave, coming to your first question, what should people do to extract themselves from the abuse? I think it starts from, like, as parents, we need to start teaching children to speak, and we need to listen to the kids when they speak. Because if we don't listen now, they'll never trust us to listen when they have such problems. So thank you so much. Let me bring in Nana to close the session.
Super.
Yes. Okay, bye. Nana. Nana, unmute yourself. Good.
Oh.
Yes.
You know, Zippy, I've been saying, sometimes I say I will just start the session and then I will run away and then I'll come back just in time to close.
Then it gets nice.
But it is not happening. I am hooked. I am so hooked to this discussion. But let me tell you, I mean, this is powerful and it's always powerful. We know that because we are women and we are powerful and we are on a mission. This is not about just storytelling. Somebody says the culture of silence, and you've just ended that. Yes, the culture of silence ends here, Zippy. Forums as these, where we are speaking, we are talking, we are sharing our stories, good and bad. This is where the culture of silence ends. I started by saying that Commonwealth Business Women Network, one of our pillars, is ending violence against women and girls. And we advocate and work with partners to end this violence. That's what I started by saying. Somebody said women are disempowered in marriages. Yes, but they're also disempowered in the boardroom, in political arenas. That's why forums of empowering women are very, very important. So the fact that we know that women are disempowered is not new. However, is what next? What can we do as Commonwealth Business Women Network to now empower these women, whether it is in the political arena, whether it is in marriages, whether it's in the boardrooms? What do we do? That's where we are, Zippy, you and I. Our business is in empowering women. Gender-based violence, somebody did say very well. Intergenerational gender-based violence. It's not ending with the perpetrator now, no. It will be emulated. If it's the children, they will carry it forward. If it's the bosses, the coming generation will carry it forward. If it's the leadership, it becomes intergenerational. That's why when I started reading the report earlier, it was said that it must be treated as a national catastrophe, disaster, and handled at that level. We talked about counseling in my opening session, Zippy, and in my listening,
and it came up again and again.
We need to take this forward, so not as for those who are diseased, because that's where we are. Counseling is for those who are diseased. If I told you, I had a counseling session with an hour ago, you'll ask me, what is wrong with you? What has happened? What is the problem? Nana, we talk every day. You've not told me kuna shida.
Yeah, why haven't you shared?
But we need to demystify this, and I say, have counseling sessions from primary level so that it becomes a way of life. Why? It was said here very clearly, you catch patterns early. Was it Serah who said, in her counseling session, a pattern was caught? It was about, is it anger? No, it was about abuse, but not physical
abuse.
Emotional abuse. So she's perpetrating it without knowing it. But if see, a counselor was able to catch it. What about anger? If I'm seeing a counselor, I can just go and express myself and talk about how Zippy today annoyed me and I really want to fix her. The counseling session will bring out a pattern or alternative ways of handling my anger management sessions.
Yeah.
You need to manage this in an alternative way. You don't have to physically or emotionally abuse Zippy. You can handle it in an alternative way.
Mama, you see, our generation nowadays go for counseling on Facebook.
Okay, Zippy, let's not go there. Let's not go there.
You folks are saying, I did this and he did this. What should I do? And Facebook advocates come.
And these days, I see insurance companies, counseling is offered in our medical checkups. There is a section where you can actually get a number of sessions in a year for counseling. We should really take advantage of that, all of us.
And people are not aware of that, by the way.
They are not, because we don't read. And when we don't read, we don't know what is offered. We just say, am I able to go to Nairobi Hospital?
Inpatient and outpatient, full stop.
We should read so that we are able to take advantage of these packages that are already part of our medical cover. But really, I'm just saying, Zippy, let's take counseling to a level where it is part of our well-being, full stop. It's part of our well-being. That's what I'm saying. In conclusion, this lady NJERI, the labor of love, this lady, what she's doing is truly the labor of love. And because ending violence against women and girls is part of our mandate, I am going to propose to the board that we support her work. Because that work, she's doing quite a bit. It's not just offering shelter, but there's also
counseling.
There's counseling, there's also offering life skills, and we can do a lot more with her, by partnering with her. So I'm putting that way out there. We will find a way of connecting. Well, we have you, but we will find a way of actually rolling out a partnership with her and seeing what we can do with the women she takes on here. In conclusion, thank you, Dr. Zippy. And in this story, I'm always looking for the impact. What are we doing to impact? It's not just a story. So this one really has been one of those very impactful. And I'm happy that we have NJERI, doing all this work. and it's in alignment with what one of our pillars in CBWN. So let's support her.
Thank you. Thank you. Good night. In Africa, we don't say good night until we are almost going to bed.
And thank you to Serah, Lydia, of course, Njoki,
Antonia.
Antonia. Oh, thank you so much. They have made it so worthwhile.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Thank you.
I'm going to bed.
Good night. He's going to bed early. The secret to your smooth face.
And then add cancelling hapo juu. I am so
wengine wetu tunadozi mpaka kwa kiti tunaamka, alafu ndio tunaenda.
Hiyo niliacha zamani.
Okay, thank you, Nana. Bye. Okay, all right. Bye, everyone. That was it for today. We've had an amazing evening discussing domestic abuse today, as depicted in Kidnapped. We realized the issues that were on Kidnapped are so realistic to us today. And we have also been mentored by NJERI or MIGWI, who's made us feel like we just need to do a little bit more, not just calling, not just listening to the stories and tweeting. We need to at least be able to give a shoulder. And now she has got a shelter. Since not all of us can open shelters, we can still support NJERI or MIGWI in whichever way we can. If you have got pans and groceries and utensils and anything that you have, house furniture, beds, let's support NJERI in whichever way. And also, Antonia, thank you so much for empowering us. It feels so good having all that information from a young person, learning about the culture of silence, the fact that we need to give community support. Thank you for all that information. And to Serah, thank you so much for creating a film to bring out this discussion. And Lydia, Gitachu, if you didn't do that well in this film, we definitely couldn't be discussing it. And also by default, we just like to thank the director, Nick Njache, for having made such a powerful piece, because the creative work is the director's work. And so thank you so much for all of you for listening and for watching. And until next week, Friday, we just want to say bye-bye.